News.
How lucky are we to have loved the way we did in the amount of time we were given?
A tearful, heartbreaking message from the woman planning to marry Henrico officer Trey Sutton in just 2 months. Today, she and hundreds of others gathered to honor the officer's brief yet deeply impactful life.
We have team coverage on today's farewell to the 24-year-old officer. We're going to start with Henrico reporter Karina Bolster, who has a closer look at today's funeral service and the moving tributes.
Well, Officer Trey Sutton's family and friends saying today is not a day to mourn, but rather celebrate the life he had. Many urging the community to incorporate the qualities that shined bright in him into your own lives.
He always put others before himself, which made him a perfect candidate for this career path.
Hundreds of law enforcement officers gathering to support their fallen brother, Officer Trey Sutton. Having only graduated from the academy in mid-February, Henrico Chief of Police Eric English says the rookie had a bright future.
Trey had a glow about him. Trey had a purpose. He was on the verge of maximizing his flame.
Sutton died from injuries sustained in a 3-car crash while he was completing his field training. His field training officer also critically injured in that crash, but Sutton's family saying in a letter he was there for him.
They were well on their way to forming a bond that would last a lifetime.
Governor Glenn Youngkin among the roughly 1,500 in attendance at Victory Tabernacle in Chesterfield. Youngkin acknowledging the risks and dangers these men and women in blue sign up for.
It doesn't lessen the severe blow that when tragedy strikes, we all feel with you.
But family urging everyone to celebrate the 24 years Trey Sutton had. His brother Jared sharing more about the bond with his best friend over the last 2 decades.
We spent a lot of time together watching the Red Sox and Patriots win championships.
Trey was the king of trash talk, especially when it came to his Red Sox and Patriots. If you were not a fan of either one, he would never let you live it down.
But beyond his love for Boston teams, Sutton loved his fiancée Zoe, whom he was set to marry this coming June.
I would give anything for more days with Trey. But if I had to choose this over never loving him at all, I would choose this pain 100 times over. How lucky are we to have loved the way we did in the amount of time we were given?
Henrico police now set to retire Sutton's badge, number 559, one that will never be worn again by an officer.
Trey, we will now carry the flame, not one that flickers, but the kind of flame that you brought to each of us. One that shines bright, bright and strong, because that's how you will be remembered.
On your side.
Officer Trey Sutton, Unit 97 X-ray. End of watch, March 31st, 2022. Godspeed.
Karina Bolster, NBC 12 News.
And our condolences go out to Officer Sutton's friends and family tonight. Well, once the funeral service was over, a solemn procession began, carrying Officer Sutton's body to his final resting place. Police officers on motorcycles and in cruisers led a long motorcade to the cemetery in Prince George County. Intersections were closed off and some people stopped to pay their respects. AJ DeWoko continues our team coverage with that part of today's farewell.
Yeah, you can see the Henrico Police Memorial behind me. For over 20 years, it served as a monument to officers who have been killed in the line of duty, honoring their sacrifice. And for the past week, the community and the Henrico Police Department at large have been honoring the sacrifice of Officer Trey Sutton, culminating in his funeral service and the procession that followed this afternoon. You could see long lines of Henrico police officers and on motorcycles and squad vehicles as they led that motorcade, that procession down the road, getting closer to I-95, carrying Officer Trey Sutton. You could even see officers off to the side of the road saluting that procession as it passed. It made its way miles and miles down I-95 towards Hopewell, the Merchants Hope Memorial Garden, where Officer Sutton was eventually laid to rest, where his family could also be seen and several officers carrying flags just there in support of his sacrifice. Now, This isn't a sight that we're normally used to seeing. This doesn't happen very often, so when it does, it's a very unique experience to see just how the Virginia law enforcement community comes out in support for one of their own, especially the Henrico Police Department, as you've seen in the days leading up to this. Now back here at the Henrico Police Memorial, every year a ceremony is held in May to honor the sacrifice of officers who have been killed in the line of duty. An additional wreath is also laid following the anniversary of an officer's death. Now Officer Trey Sutton will become a part of this legacy here as people continue to, again, just remember the sacrifice he made at even just being 24 years old in his short time as a Henrico police officer. His sacrifice will always be remembered and honored here. That'll do it for us now here in Henrico. AJ Nwoko, NBC 12.